Okay, among the various and sundry irons in the fire here, I decided I'd go ahead and start another one. This time, I'm working on the Aeldari Nightwing fighter, but in this case I'm not working on the Aeronautica Imperialis version. I'm working on the much larger solid resin Forgeworld version. Now in this case, I've already gone through, removed all the parts from the sprue, and gone through with some hot water and straightened the parts that needed it the most, the wings, the back wings of the main body, and those two bright lances. Now, I've still got some cleanup to do, but all in all, the molding for a resin kit that's been around for a long time is not bad. Truth be told, I'm not really expecting to have to adjust anything. Still haven't really figured out a paint scheme for it. But at this point, I figured at the very least, I'd start by getting it cleaned up. This is the mechanism for making the wings pivot, like they do on the smaller version. And it's kind of complicated, but I'll deal with it. All right. Okay, seriously at work on the Nightwing here. These clamps are actually not holding anything while things are being glued. What I've done is I've got these clamped to hold the wings in place so I can get the sliding mechanism in place before gluing this in place over it without having to handle everything 25,000 times and risk, dropping it. Okay, biggest worry with the Aeldari Nightwing is taken care of. The wing pivot does work, which means now all I've got to do is put this piece in place over the top of it and then get to work on installing the rest of the parts. Okay, at this point, the lower side assembly is complete. The bright lances are in place. Engines are in place, as are the lower wings. About time we started working on the upper half of this ship. Alright, at this point, primary assembly is done. I haven't glued the canopy on, nor have I glued the cockpit cover on so I can actually go in and paint the cockpit. But other than that, assembly of the Nightwing is done, and we're ready to start looking at paint. Okay, I have detail painted the pilot and cockpit. I haven't done a lot because once I put the canopy on, it'll be pretty much hidden. But, we got some basics in there. Canopy is now masked with masking tape. Frames are primered. And then I'll glue the piece that goes over the cockpit into place. And it'll be time to start working on the rest of this ship. And now we have the first coat, or the primer coat of Games Workshop Chaos Black. I'll flip the model over in a minute and do the other side. This will be the only real primer coat because, gee, Altaithe Craftworld is mostly black. And now we have the underside completely done in black. Once this has had a chance to cure up, it'll be time for detail painting. All right. Using the an AK Interactive white paint pen, I went in and base coated all the areas that will be red on this, as well as the various and sundry gems, both on the top and bottom. This being an Eldar fighter, of course, you're going to have gems all over the place. The metallic areas were picked out with the AK Interactive gunmetal, and everything's been touched up anywhere overflowed with the flat black. At this point, let this sit for a bit and then get the red out. All right, at this point, the detail paint's done. The red is down over the white that I showed earlier. And I've also got the markings on. So, with the masks now removed from the canopy and the coats of sealant in place, we're going to call the build of the Aeldari Nightwing fighter finished. The red is done with Army Painter Poppy Red Speed Paint. It took a couple of coats, and as you can tell, they're still not completely uniform, but I actually like it because it helps give this thing a sense of scale. The gems were picked out in Mage Blue Speed Paint. The markings are the custom ones I made for my Altaithe Craftworld. The cockpit, you can actually see inside the canopy. There's not a lot to see, admittedly, but it is visible. The bottom looks very similar to the top. The bright lances were picked out in the same gunmetal as the rest of the underside and the engines. The swing mechanism works, but I'm not going to show it because it takes two hands to do, which would mean having to set the camera down. But all in all, I am very happy with how this turned out. And I will throw some stills at the end of this, and thank you all for watching.